during question period I and my colleague from the bloc. Both asked you questions in the House of Commons about the allegations of CSIS Director Richard Fadden, that there were politicians in the country who were under the influence of foreign governments. You responded to these questions as follows. Mr. Speaker, I will be at the committee on Monday.
Point of order there, Mr. Davies.
Mr. Speaker, I'll be there on Monday. The member can ask me any question that she likes.
Mr. Davies, I again remind you today that we aren't here on the estimates. We aren't here on specific to CSIS. We aren't here on Mr. Fadden. We are here on the G8, G20. And so what we expect is that we have relevance, the question being asked to the issue in which we have invited the Minister and his colleagues at the desk.
Mr. Chairman.
And if you don't have a question on that, we'll move to the next.
Oh, Mr. Chairman, don't worry. I have lots of questions on G20. The Minister himself said that he would be here where the member can ask any question that we like. So it's up to the Minister. I mean,
on a point of order, Mr. Rathgate.
Nothing here.
Well, the agenda is quite clear. We're here to conduct a study of G20 issues surrounding security. Mr. Davies is going off on questions that can be handled in other matters if he's unsatisfied with the answers that he's received. This is not the forum, and I'm asking, Mr. Chair, that we stick to the agenda.
Yeah, I'm just not going to. I'm not going to take that as a point of order. I think I've made a decision on this one that we just continue with the question specific to the G. If you are asking about CSIS's responsibility, if any, in the G8, G20, I'll accept the question. But if not, we'll proceed to the next. Well, I didn't take it as a point of order. I just. Okay, Mr. Holland, quickly.
Very quickly, the solution is very simple. Minister, come before this committee. There's absolutely no reason.
We're now on debate.
Do it,
Mr.
Minister.
Davies, continue,
you owe it to
please.
this committee.
Mr. Chairman, I just hope my time isn't counted for all those interjections. Then,
yes, it does.
Oh, well. A little fairness, Mr. Chairman, would be nice.
Point d'ordre, Monsieur le Président.
On my ruling, the time is counting. On Mr. Rathgaber's and Mr. Holland's, no. So continue.
Monsieur le Président, point d'ordre.
On a point of order.
Oui. Monsieur le Président, le 20 octobre 2010, le ministre de la Sécurité publique a dit, et c'est écrit ici dans le verbatim, ok? Il a dit qu'il va venir ici pour répondre à toutes nos questions parce qu'il refusait de se présenter dans cette salle pour prendre le discuter avec nous. Vous êtes en train de nous dire... Le ministre nous a dit une fausseté, alors.
Madam Morani, we've already been through this. In fact, if you recall in our last meeting, we've made an ability to deal with that at a later time. And so I think we'll just proceed with Mr. Davies.
Une fausseté, c'est beau. On comprend.
I'll proceed with this line in the House with the Minister on a different day. Mr. Minister, I read this statement. There's not one word in this statement about the mass arrests or the widespread violations of civil liberties or the illegal searches, the unlawful arrests, and this is the largest mass arrest in Canadian history. And I'm a little surprised and disappointed with that. And I'm going to ask you pointedly and directly, who was responsible for the decision to arrest some 900 innocent Canadians?
Well, I don't know anything about the guilt or innocence of people. That's not my task to make that determination. And I know that it's typical of the NDP to ask political people to get involved in police operations. I don't do that. And it would be inappropriate for me to do that. You know that. And to politicize what is essentially a police operation is entirely inappropriate. You can ask all the various police departments who have the lawful authority to make those decisions. But as a politician, even as a minister, I do not have that authority, and it would be highly inappropriate for me to, in fact, intervene in a political way in the independence of any policing agency.
Okay, Mr.
As
Minister.
I've indicated,
Mr. Minister, excuse me, I have limited time here. You're not going to filibuster the question after already ducking on Mr. Fadden.
Let me just finish. Let me just finish. There are agencies.
It was a simple question.
Well, then let me give you a simple answer. There are agencies who make the determination as to whether or not there was any inappropriate conduct by any of the police officers involved.
Okay, I've heard that, Mr. Minister.
And that's the appropriate.
You started off by saying you didn't know about the guilt or innocence.
That's right.
There were 1,105 people arrested. 900 were ultimately cleared without charge. That means that they were not even arrested. They are innocent, Mr. Minister. The people that arrested them ended up dropping the charges when they went back to court.
I don't follow that. You said they weren't arrested.
900 people were arrested, 900 people were charged, and those charges were dropped. That's 900 of 1,100. That's almost 90% of Canadians that were arrested when coming at first appearance, the state had so little evidence, they actually didn't proceed with the charges. Are you comfortable with that?
Well, let me put it this way. I hope that you put this question to the responsible police agencies and the Crown attorneys who make that decision. As you know, those are provincial Crown attorneys under the jurisdiction of the provincial Ontario Attorney General. And I assume that you're putting those questions to that individual.
It's the province's fault and the police department.
I'm just indicating that I do not exercise authority in areas where I have no authority. And you would be the first to be critical if I did.
Mr. Minister, there were 20,000 security personnel within a 20-block radius in Toronto. There was a small group of agitators who ran amok, breaking store windows, torching police cars for 30 minutes without any interruption by a police officer. I imagine you've checked into that. What can you tell us about how and why that occurred?
Well, I can leave it to either the RCMP officer here or the security advisors to do that. I do not get involved in the determination of the guilt or innocence of individuals on our streets who are demonstrating lawfully or otherwise.
Mr. Minister, hang on. I wasn't asking anything about guilt or innocence. I was asking about the conduct of police. You're responsible for the RCMP, are you not, sir?
I do not involve...
Are you not responsible for the RCMP
well,
or not?
let me answer that. I am not responsible for the operational decisions of the RCMP or any other police department. Let me finish. I am not responsible for the operational decisions of any police force. They respond to either police agencies, independent civilian agencies, or the courts.
Who do the RCMP report to, sir? Do they not report to you?
The Commissioner reports to me, but he does not report on operational matters. And what you're asking me to do is essentially unlearning the lesson that we learned at the Hughes inquiry. Do you recall the Hughes inquiry in the APEC?
Of course I do.
And when the Liberals involved themselves in RCMP operations at a demonstration? That is highly inappropriate, Mr. Davies, and you know it.
I'm asking if it's concerning to you that people rioted in the middle of Toronto.
Mr. Davies, your time is up. Your time is up. All right. In fact, you have more time than what we'll proceed to the government side. Mr. McKenzie.
Thanks.